I always feel a bit weird preaching on Good Shepherd Sunday because I'm not convinced I've ever actually seen a sheep in person. I know next to nothing about what it means to be a shepherd. The vast majority of what I know about shepherding comes from Bible stories. So I'm here before you this morning to tell you all about shepherding, because I am an expert in this field. When Jesus told this story, when he referred to himself as a good shepherd, he was speaking to people who either were shepherds or knew shepherds. At the very least, they knew a lot more about shepherding than I do. Probably a lot more about shepherding than even you do, and you probably know a lot more than I do, because, as I said before, I know basically nothing. But what I know from this morning's gospel lesson is that Jesus, thankfully, gave us something in opposition to a good shepherd. He gave us the bad shepherd, or the hired hand. And this was someone who didn't care about the sheep. He was watching the sheep because someone paid him to watch sheep. And at the end of the day, if there was a wolf coming, he's going to run away and find someone else to pay him to watch sheep. And those sheep can take care of themselves. But that's not the way it is with Jesus. Jesus is the good shepherd, not because he's morally good, not because he is the best shepherd to have ever shepherded, but because he cares so much about those sheep, about every single one of those sheep, so much so that he would rather give up his own life than to risk even one of those sheep dying or being harmed. That's what it means for Jesus to be the Good Shepherd. Willing to give up his life for you and for me. Even when we want to be like sheep and go our own way. When we get distracted by something shiny over there and we just go wandering over there and say, I forget who this Jesus person is, I'm going to go over here. Even then, Jesus says, I'm going to find you and bring you back. At the end of the day, if there's a wolf coming, I will place myself between you and that wolf. And that gets us to the imagery used in Psalm 23 this morning. Just such a beautiful psalm. It's so comforting, and the imagery is just absolutely beautiful. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not be in want. Many of us could probably recite the entire thing in the King James Version. What strikes me the most about the 23rd Psalm is that it's comforting only if we realize that there's a reason we need comfort. If we're already comfortable, then the 23rd Psalm is just nice words on a page. But what the 23rd Psalm really means is that there will be times where we walk through the valley of the shadow of death. There will be times when it will feel like enemies are all around us and we need God's rod and staff to protect us. There will be those wolves that come in. There will be reasons we could be afraid, nervous, on edge, concerned that maybe God isn't really there. There will be those low points in our life. Yet even in the midst of the lowest point in our life, we have that promise that God is still with us. Even those moments where we feel there's no possible way God could be with me in this, God is there. Even in those moments where it feels like we are surrounded on all sides and our back is against a wall and there is no way out of our own depression or sorrow or anger or whatever it is, if we stop and listen long and hard enough, we can hear God's voice calling out, saying, "Take my hand. There is a way I have set for you. And if you follow the path I have set for you, goodness and mercy will pursue you all the days of your life." That's such beautiful imagery. To know that if we follow the right path that God sets for us, goodness and mercy will follow us. We don't have to go after goodness and mercy. We don't have to make sure we have the latest gadgets and the latest things and the newest car and that our mortgage is paid off in so many years and that we have the right number of friends, or we say the right number of prayers, we give 10% of our income to charity. We don't need to do all of that to achieve good. We just need to follow what God said, to love one another. It really is that simple. And if we follow the simple path, goodness and mercy will pursue us. The 23rd Psalm is so rich and beautiful. And I hope you take more time to look at what the words actually mean, and not from a 21st century capitalist Western society lens, where we see that first verse, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not be in want," and think that means if I follow Jesus, then I'll have a 55-inch flat screen TV in every room. I'll have the fastest car on the road. I'll have the perfect spouse, and I myself will be the perfect spouse. I will never have health issues. I'll never want for anything again. That's not what this means. This means that every need we have will be taken care of. Just as a good shepherd takes care of every need the sheep has, God will make sure that we have time for rest, our green pasture to lie in. God will make sure we have still water to drink from, to revive our soul. God will make sure that even when we're in the valley of the shadow of death, even when enemies are pursuing us all around, God will make sure that our cup somehow overflows with love, compassion, and mercy. Because God loved us so much that he was willing to give up his own life. He didn't let his life be taken away from him, as sometimes we think happened. But Jesus said in the gospel this morning, "I give it up of my own accord, and I will take it up again for you, for me, for everyone." That's the cup that overflows for each and every one of us. So if you feel like you're in the valley of the shadow of death, if you feel you're being pursued by wolves all around and you don't know where the next safe place is, God is your shepherd too. Have no fear, for his rod and his staff will comfort you. He will anoint your head in oil, and your cup will overflow, and goodness and mercy will follow you and you will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. That's the promise we have been given. That's the promise you have, even in your darkest moments. I pray that you hear God's voice calling out to you, and you reach out to take God's hand and follow the righteous path he has set for you. Amen.
Get over there. That dog will get you. Oh, sheep are so cute.